I will say this in defense of the other side on this one, because I watched the Kennedy Center honors this year. It was in December. It's always in December. I always watch it. And this year they honored Francis Ford Coppola and the Grateful Dead were the two famous ones. And then they have an opera singer you never heard of. And, you know, okay, there's 5 people who get honored. And I just, now maybe I'm wrong because I didn't do an exhaustive study, but I was watching the show. I did not see one person in the audience or one person on the stage who you would think voted for Donald Trump. Now, this is the last month of the Biden administration. And having just lost the election, I just thought, you know what, invite Ted Cruz. If this is supposed to be America and we're all together and you just lost.
In this video, we joined Bill Maher and his panel on Real Time with Bill Maher. Bill Maher and the panel discussed the Democrats' exclusionary attitude towards those that don't fall in line 100%. With that, let's watch Bill Maher destroy the Democrat Party.
This is for you, Felissa. What do you think of Republican leadership telling their members that they should avoid doing town halls?
You can't hide from your own voters.
It's literally
like they're not going to be mad if you don't show up. It's actually politically good advice from Richard Hudson because this is going to happen. My concern is that Doge has cut a lot that we don't know, and in the next few months, there's going to be goods and services that the American public does rely on, not the fat and waste that none of us like. And if you're not getting your VA benefits, if you're waiting at the Social Security office, you're going to want to go and yell at your congressman, or you're going to vote him out of office.
The other thing I would add to that is you get in Washington, D.C. and around that brick and that mortar, and it's a bubble, and you never hear what's going on in the real world. And those town hall meetings are the only way you can hear what's really going on in the real world. It's really goes against our democracy, quite frankly.
Okay. What do you, for you, David, what do you think of artists like Hamilton creator Lin-Manuel Miranda canceling tours of their shows at the Kennedy Center now that Trump has taken it over?
I played the Kennedy Center 3 times.
Really?
You know, and every time I've gone, I've said, why haven't you given me the Mark Twain Award? Like, usually
I should get it too.
Yeah, the last time they gave it to a writer was Neil Simon.
Wow.
Now Jeff Foxworthy's going to get it before I do. I mean, it doesn't seem fair. I've played the Kennedy a bunch of times, and I got to say, I don't know that I'd go back right now because I think the audience is going to stay away as well. And usually when I've been there, I don't mean to sound like a dick, but, you know, it sells out. And I don't want Trump to take credit. I don't want to lead to its success if he's going to claim that as a victory for himself.
You're not a dick for selling out.
No. I mean a dick for saying it.
Right. Not a dick for that either.
Okay.
You're just not
3 times sold out.
After the first 1 or 2 words out of this guy's mouth, if you hadn't heard what he just said there, what party would you have guessed he's affiliated with? Good Lord, he's like the poster child. Maybe that's out there that leadership was telling Republicans not to do town halls. I missed that. I'm not saying they're incorrect, but the one guy is right. I mean, these politicians are in their political elite bubbles and have no idea what's going on with real Americans. So I think any Republican, Democrat, anyone worth their salt needs to be doing a lot of town halls. And if that direction was given by leadership, I think it's a huge mistake. Obviously not all of them, but I think Republican politicians are much more authentic than Democrat politicians. It seems like every time a Democrat politician does any kind of town hall, there's clips all over the internet about how they embarrass themselves because they're so fake and they lie so much. It's like trying to remember, you know, lie after lie after lie, and they just end up getting caught. But I feel like Republican politicians do really well in town halls. So, and then I guess the other thing is Alyssa Farah Griffin suggesting all these goods and services that people aren't going to be getting in the United States because of Doge cuts is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. I do 2 different political channels, and I've asked multiple times, has anyone been affected? Obviously not the people that lost their jobs, but average Americans been affected by the Doge cuts. And I'm talking thousands of comments later, I still haven't seen one person affected. And we all knew that because the government was and still is insanely bloated. They could cut so many more jobs. So terrible prediction, Alyssa. Let's get back to the video.
I'm angry that the building was politicized. I'm angry about that.
Okay, but I will say this in defense of the other side on this one, because I watched the Kennedy Center honors this year. It was in December. It's always in December. I always watch it. And this year they honored Francis Ford Coppola and the Grateful Dead were the two famous ones, and then they have an opera singer you never heard of, and okay, there's 5 people who get honored. And now maybe I'm wrong because I didn't do an exhaustive study, but I was watching the show. I did not see one person in the audience or one person on the stage who you would think voted for Donald Trump. Now, this is the last month of the Biden administration. And having just lost the election, I just thought, you know what? Invite Ted Cruz. If this is supposed to be America and we're all together and you just lost, invite some of the people who you wouldn't suspect to be there. I'm sure Ted Cruz or somebody like.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
That likes Francis Ford Coppola. Everybody likes The Godfather.
Yeah.
I'm sure there are some Republicans who are Grateful Dead fans. And it's just like, no, the Mean Girls were like, no, this is our last time, and this is what you get. And now, Kevin Sorbo will be winning the next Kennedy Center.
And, listen, the arts obviously skew left of center, and that's
Right,
fine.
yeah, of
I'm not
course.
looking to see
Yes,
Rob,
they
with
do.
all due respect, perform there. But I do think that how much in Beltway media the story of the Kennedy Center takeover has become a big story is just, once again, so out of touch with the middle of this country, who doesn't even know what it is outside of watching the Kennedy Center honors once a year. So I think going overboard on it isn't the answer either.
It's just a bad attitude.
So what you're saying is there were no Republicans in the audience?
That's what I didn't see anybody throughout the whole show who I thought, oh, this is a person who voted for Trump. I just felt when they cut to the.
If anyone politicized the Kennedy Center, it's the left, right? By doing exactly what they're talking about, not showing any grace in defeat, inviting only left-wing, insane people. Bill's right. You want to complain about the right all the time and what monsters they are, but why don't you lead by example? Well, they do lead by example, and everyone's starting to see it now. Selfish, greedy, power-hungry examples. And Alyssa Farah Griffin is actually correct. The middle of the country does not give a shit about the Kennedy Center. She said, except when they watch the Kennedy Center honors. I've got news for her on that, though. The middle of the country doesn't watch the Kennedy Center honors. Let's wrap it up.
The audience, it was just the usual suspects. And okay, I get it. You're right. It does skew left. But that's one thing that really bugs me about the left, that exclusionary attitude. And but you just lost. You don't have the juice to pull that off anymore.
And I've only been to it in person twice in 18 years. But the truth is, both times that I went there, once about 3 years ago, there were a lot of Republicans in the audience during the Biden administration.
Okay, maybe they just didn't show them.
Yeah, the panel thinks it's crazy that Bill would suggest that the left excludes people. But we want to hear from you. What do you guys think about this panel discussion on Real Time with Bill Maher about the left's exclusion of anyone who doesn't fall in line? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you in the next one.